Hello my people from my channel, how are you? I know I've left you a bit neglected because I've had to study, focus a little more on myself. I've even let my beard grow. But well, to not complicate this video is going to be about whether it is expensive to study medicine in Bolivia. How much do you pay? Is the medicine good in Bolivia? Because there are many doubts that quite a few people have about it, so hopefully this information will be useful to them. Without further ado, don't forget to leave your like, which helps my channel a lot, to subscribe to my channel. Please. I think subscribing here where the little red button is doesn't cost anything. They don't charge you. And don't forget to follow me on my social networks on Instagram. Here I leave you here, or here I leave you my Instagram so you can follow me and give me some likes over there too. So let's start with the video. Is it expensive to study in Bolivia? No, it's not as expensive as other South American countries, for example. Let's compare values. In Brazil, depending on the university, obviously, the best, let's say, a renowned university is a bit expensive. It costs from 8,000 to 10,000 reais per month, which is equivalent to about $1,500 to $2,000. Almost the monthly fee, per month. So it's a bit expensive for many people who live here. So the majority, as we know, are Brazilians who go to Bolivia to study simply because it's a bit expensive. Brazilians often choose to take the exam, the national high school exam, which is like in Bolivia where we have the Gabriel exam, but it's not that easy, right? Here in Brazil, it's quite complicated. You have to get good grades on the exam to be able to win a scholarship. Like saying, win a full scholarship for the career you would want. For example, medicine, there are very few people who succeed, and it will depend a lot. It's not where you take the national high school exam in your city in Brazil, but it doesn't mean that you're going to exactly study medicine there. They can send you anywhere, to any state in Brazil, right? But they pay for your entire career. That's very good, but it's very difficult. So most Brazilians prefer to opt for Bolivia, Argentina, Paraguay, right? But exclusively for people who want to study in Bolivia. Is the medicine good in Bolivia? Yes, they teach the same. I tell you from experience because I came here to do a course which is the med group, and I was a little scared to see if there is anything different or something, but in reality it's all the same. Only the epidemiology varies a little, which is always going to change in different countries, right? Because it's not the same as going to Europe and seeing if there's yellow fever or if there are other types of diseases. Like here, for example, Brazil and Bolivia, we share almost the same epidemiology, only that some things change, but it's almost the same. So for me, it was very easy to understand everything. Some things change, which are very small, but is the medicine in Bolivia very good? It's also going to depend a lot on which university. I don't want to say which university if this one is good or another. If not, they'll bombard me with things saying, oh no, I studied there, why are you talking like that? No. So I don't want to get too involved in that, but I studied at the Catholic University, and to me, it's one of the best. Obviously, in the first place, it's always going to be Gabriel, which would be the State University of Santa Cruz, Bolivia, for me, mine. Do they really make you strive? You have to learn. They motivate you, don't they? Other universities don't really encourage students much, I think, but rather they take more money from them, right? Economically, you don't pass this subject. You have to pay this, you have to pay more paperwork, more things, and more everything. And besides that, they give you more paperwork to do and all these things. When you finish your degree, they ask you for a bunch of things. You have to pay for one procedure, you have to pay for another procedure, so it's a bit more bureaucratic in those things because they want this, so you have to look at that a lot. But comparing the prices in Bolivia with the prices in Brazil, studying in Bolivia is a bit cheaper in comparison. No, keep in mind that in Brazil you cannot photocopy or use photocopied books. It's penalized because here you absolutely have to use the original. You can download it from the internet or Yes, but unlike Bolivia, where you can easily purchase and read unofficial book copies without much regulation, that is not the case here. Another point that is important, my university is annualized. What does annualized mean? There are universities that are semester-based and annual. Mine is annualized. For example, subjects that are important, heavy in the medicine career, such as anatomy, histology. The first year they are annual, which means if you try anatomy or histology, any of those, you can't continue with the other subjects of the second year. You will have to repeat that, and you will be able to take some semester subjects that have nothing to do with medicine, right? Religious things and all that, right? So you do fall behind, you lose a year in itself. On the other hand, in other universities, they are semester-based. What does that mean? That you failed anatomy in your first semester? Anatomy is divided into two parts. If you don't pass anatomy 1, you can retake it the next semester without losing a whole year. Just one semester. Is medicine in Bolivia good? It's good, it's very good. We don't have to envy anything. Sometimes that's always the fear, but there's no reason for it. Why is it cheaper in Bolivia? Do they teach well? Is it clear that they teach very well? Is it cheap because it doesn't exist? Just like here in Brazil, I focus a lot on Brazil because it's where I am and it's my experience. In Brazil, it's more expensive due to taxes and other costs. And it's a career that is really in high demand here. So that too has a big impact in the environment where we live. You're going to have very good teachers. For example, the Catholic university I attend has agreements with all the Catholic universities in the world. You can exchange, if you get tired, you can go somewhere else or learn something else. This doesn't exist in Brazil. The exam, like in Bolivia, for example, you finish the 6 years of medicine in Bolivia. The universities that charge a little less, we're going to categorize it like that. You have to take an exam, a final exam, which is like you defend everything you learned, and you have to take that exam in order to graduate. For example, at my university and at the state one, that exam is not given. You finished your 6 years of medicine, ready, you graduate, and they give you your degree. On the other hand, in the others, you finish the 6 years. You have to prepare yourself. You lose about 13 months depending on when they schedule your exam. In Brazil it's the 6 years. You graduate, and shortly after, at the moment that is of your graduation, they give you your degree. There is some bureaucracy. For example, in Bolivia, it takes a long time for them to give you the degree. That's true, because you finished 3 months for them to give you the academic degree, almost a month to prepare your papers to be able to submit the professional degree. It's a bit bureaucratic, and you lose about 6 months in Brazil, right? You graduate, give everything. It will take a month or two, and they give you your diploma. It gives you the possibility in Brazil that you can already apply and take the exam to do your residency. However, in Bolivia, we lack that convenience. Why? Because your papers are in process and you can't apply for a residence because you have to have your professional degree, and that takes time. And the exam is in March, so you can't anymore. You have to wait a year to be able to apply and have all your papers. On the other hand, here, no. You finish your career and you can already enter the specialty you want to take. So that's the difference, isn't it? I can't talk to you about Paraguay. I know it's a bit cheap also. Argentina too. Here in Bolivia, you have a bit more freedom to be with the patient. You can touch the patient with the patient's permission, and obviously with a teacher by your side. In Bolivia, they prepare the doctor for any event or wherever they are going to send you. For example, within our internship, we have 3 months to go to the province, which would be a place further away from the city, let's say, right? There they teach you that you have to be the doctor, you have to do everything doctor and nurse. Because truly, sometimes you won't have all your equipment. So you have to know how to use everything. Or won't you have a nurse to help you, to tell her to give an injection, help me put in an intravenous. So in other words, is the doctor in Bolivia prepared for everything? When I was an intern, I would tell the nurses, teach me how to place it. I already knew how to put in an intravenous and give injections, but I would ask them to teach me how to give injections to children. Teach me how to put an intravenous in a child. An intravenous means to put a drip in a child. To know these things, right? Because one knows in adults, but what about the child? It's a bit more difficult. It's a child. You have to be a bit more cautious and calm. So I always ask them all that. Teach me how to change a colostomy bag. So it's important to do that. One has to know, because one doesn't know where they can send you. If they send you to a very distant province and you don't have a nurse, then you have to know it, right? So I believe that's something important that you have in Bolivia, right? Is it going to depend a lot on the university you go to? As I don't want to mention names, I'm just going to talk about my experience at my university, which is the Catholic one. My university doesn't have a great infrastructure, but you don't need it to be a wow university that has an elevator that provides you with this. No, I think that sometimes we rely too much on the visual, don't we? This university is beautiful and wonderful with 6 or 7 floors, an elevator and everything. We often rely on that, right? And I believe that's not so important, but what's important is the knowledge you're going to acquire, right? Many attend university, which may or may not be better. The content and teaching quality are not always very good. What I tell people who want to study medicine in Bolivia is to inform themselves very well which university is the best, which ones have good teaching, good teachers. Don't get carried away too much because, oh, how beautiful this university is. I loved it because I was like that before entering the university. I was like, oh, how beautiful this university is. I'm going to study there. Well, no, I didn't study at that university because it wasn't one of the best. They don't teach you very well, even when you want to validate your diploma elsewhere. In other countries, they inform those universities. What university did you graduate from? And they investigate. And sometimes that university doesn't have a good review, so sometimes it's more complicated to get your diploma validated. So that's a heavy burden, right? Roughly how much do you pay in Bolivia? For example, it was like $300 to $350 per month. Since that's what was paid, look at the difference. I mean, the $350 per month. Here in Brazil, you pay almost between, 5,000. The cheapest up to 10,000 reais, which is equivalent to more than $1,000 per month. And that, no, mind you, does not include that you also have to buy your books, which are quite a few, right? Anatomy, histology, embryology, epidemiology. A lot of things. So there are quite a few books. Your dissection equipment to enter the amphitheater, your apron, your coat, all those things. Your food, your transportation. So there without counting, so it keeps adding up, right? So the difference is a lot. If you have any doubts or want to ask me something about what, I don't know. You want to study in Bolivia and you don't know how, what do you need? Let me know here in the comments. I always respond. I'll clear up any doubts you have. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video. It's crucial for my channel. To subscribe, please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. They don't charge you anything. You just create an account in 2 seconds. That's how you create it, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye. Thank you.